Now, I went off on a tangent talking about the Houston Roughnecks. Obviously, again, very, very, very hard game this week. Last game on the schedule, game of the week against DC, which I had at number 2. Thinking about it, I might have to move DC ahead of the Roughnecks here. Well, I'll get into my power rankings on Friday or Saturday. I'll put them up. I'll get them up before Week 6 starts for Week 5. But what a showing by the Seattle Sea Dragons defense, and what a collapse by the Houston Roughnecks. So and again, it's not an easy week. You have, in my opinion, a top 2 team in the league here. You have to go to their house. We'll talk about that game last. But we have the Seattle Sea Dragons coming off the biggest upset of the XFL season against the Roughnecks, as I just stated, and now they're going to go to the worst team in the league, the Guardians. Now, do not be shocked if the Guardians upset. do not. I talked in my video yesterday saying, hey, we're going to wear a tie, we're going to get ready for a funeral, and we're going to put them to bed here in Week 7 and Week 8. For some reason, something is telling me the Seattle Sea Dragons are going to struggle. And they're going to struggle hard against the Guardians. So do not be surprised if this is a close game and if the Guardians somehow make it out with the W. I am picking the Sea Dragons. I'm going to stick with that because they are clearly the better team. But my gut is telling me this is a trap game for the Sea Dragons. So if you're a Sea Dragons fan, be worried, because you came off the best win in the XFL last week. You have to go face the worst team now. Don't get cocky. That's all I'm going to say. So, then, we move on to the Battlehawks, who face the Vipers this week. Battlehawks cannot win the division anymore because the DC Defenders have swept them, unless the DC Defenders do not win another game and the Battlehawks go on to win the rest of their games. But very unlikely. But Battlehawks is still going to contend for a playoff spot. There's obviously 2 playoff spots. You can't have one team in the playoffs. Obviously, you need 2 teams per division, per conference. So they can still fight, but they have to go to DC. Now, I talked about it, how, hey, DC's going to want this game really badly. I picked against them, but I knew they were going to want it really badly. But I think now, if you're the Battlehawks, you need this game. You got to win out, and you got to pray that you can make it past the DC Defenders in the playoffs. Obviously, the top 2 teams in the division. So I mean, you got to start winning out. You got to gain momentum again. And yeah, so I'm picking them to beat the Vipers. I don't think that they're gonna have an easy schedule. I think they still play Houston later this year too. So. Very tough schedule for the Battlehawks coming up. Obviously, you don't have to deal with the DC Defenders anymore, but it kind of sucks. So, then we move on to the Brahmas heading to play the Renegades. I don't know. I'm not sold on either of these teams as, like, top tier or good or great. They kind of feel like middle of the road. I'm going to pick the Brahmas. I feel like I'm going to be wrong. This one I feel the most likely will be an upset. Obviously, again, Guardians could have the biggest, a big upset. Not the biggest, because the Sea Dragons was the biggest upset against the Roughnecks last week. But, I think this is like, hey, I think it's more of a coin flip that the Renegades could win than it is for the Guardians to beat the Sea Dragons. So, I am going to go the Brahmas this week. I think they can get this win. But I think this might be an interesting game. And yeah, we'll see. So then we have Game of the Week. As you can see, I already have it up there. For some reason, if this is your first time seeing my picks, yellow is normal games. Games that I feel like, hey, a lot of people are going to probably pick this team. I don't go off of like bets or whatever, but like they feel like the better team. Green is Game of the Week. That, if you watch my NFL stuff, which again, we'll have more of that in August and September later this year, you can go back and watch this past couple of years. It doesn't always have to be the same time slot as, the Fox game of the week or the CBS game of the week. It's not always a prime time, like a Sunday night prime time, Thursday night it could be. So it could literally be any game. It's just who's two of the best teams. And, here we go. Let's put them up as the game of the week. Now, I don't have a game of the week every week. And then I also do have a dark blue, which means upset. So upset would be the Guardians beating the Sea Dragons, as I talked about. I can feel it in my gut. It could possibly happen. But if I believe a team could actually upset a team that's not favored, a team that does not look as good, a team that no one believes can do anything, and can they go either to them, can they host, a better squad, and can they beat them? So that's blue. And then again, green is, game of the week. So anyway, I am picking DC. After what the heck happened against the Sea Dragons, my brain can't process it. My brain literally cannot process what the heck happened with the Houston Roughnecks. So, right now, I'm going to say DC is the best team in the league. Houston can gain my respect back, can gain number one spot back on my power rankings if they can beat DC next week. So, spoiler, I guess, but DC is number one this week for week 5, heading into week 6. But it might not stay that way, especially if they lose to the Roughnecks. So, I think this should be a good game. I hope it's a close game. I'm worried that the DC Defenders defense is just going to walk all over the Houston Roughnecks offense, just like the Seattle Sea Dragons did last week. So, we'll see. Right now, again, Houston, hopefully I put some disrespect on your name and you can gain that back and you can go back into 1 seed. I was really rooting for you. I thought, hey, this is a fun team to watch. They're an offensive juggernaut. And they just completely collapsed against a mid-tier team. So, yeah, I can't go with them to win, especially because, again, DC is one of the better teams in the league, too. So, for now, like the video, share the video around, don't forget to subscribe. Let me know your picks down below, and I am out of here. Peace.